Jay here from Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, we're in the studio. We are live with all the latest Manchester United news. So make sure you're getting involved in the chat and the comments. As always, it feels like as always, we are going to be talking about Bryan Mbeumo. What is the latest with the Bryan Mbeumo deal? Why has it not happened yet? What is causing the delay? Is there any update? We'll be getting into all that. Plus, we'll be looking at one or two other transfer stories as well, because believe it or not, there are other stories revolving around Manchester United, not just the Bryan Mbeumo deal. So make sure you're hitting that like button. And if you've not done so already, subscribe to the channel. We want to get to, let's aim for 810,000. That seems like a reasonable figure to aim for. I think we can get there by the end of the week. Loads of people in the chat already. Good to see the usual suspects. Brian Casey, Dot Rock, Jacoya Trot, Santa Not, Akash K, thank you, all you wonderful people. JB says, morning Jay, give us some juicy news. Well, I'll give you some news. Talking about Bryan Mbeumo. So there's a story, right? These are the articles that I actually like from the Manchester Evening News. I know Steve Housen rightly calls it, once great newspaper, now disreputable blog. But when they do their opinion pieces, they tend to round up all the latest stories and give you their sort of view on it, or the journalist's view on it, and where we're up to and what's going on. So on this one, it says Bryan Mbeumo to Man United transfer delay explained as Amorim finds new target. So it was talking here, I think, about the idea that Brentford are playing hardball here, that United are going to have to sort of pay what Brentford want because of, as well. We spoke about this last night on the Paddock podcast. I think Ronnie mentioned it, and he said, look, Forest selling Elanga for 55 million. We'll have more on that in a minute. Joao Pedro going to Chelsea for 60 million. This has come via the iPaper, but the Evening News have rounded it up. That has sort of encouraged Brentford to say, no, hang on a minute. We've got a player here who scored, Mbeumo scored more goals last season than Elanga scored in the last two seasons put together. Now, I know Elanga got a lot of assists. I'm not trying to have a dig at the kid. But Mbeumo is obviously a lot more prolific than those two players. Those two players have gone for 60 and 55 million. Brentford wants 65 million. They probably feel that's fair. And they'll look at the market and the way other clubs are moving and going, look, we're going to dig our heels in. We want 65 million, and we don't want 55 million and 10 million add-ons. We want around 65 million, more or less, not up front, but as the fee. So it seems as though those transfers could be playing a bit of a part in why it's taking so long for this deal to get over the line, because you're in this sort of, I think I called it brinkmanship on Sunday, where United have gone, right, here's our offer, and Brentford have gone, no. So United are sort of debating or deciding what the next offer is going to be. I imagine there is going to be a next offer. I don't think Manchester United are walking away from this deal. If we were walking away from this deal, we'd have heard about it by now. If United went, look, that's our offer, take it or leave it, and Brentford went, we'll leave it, then you'd know that the deal is off. It just seems a little bit frustrating that Manchester United haven't just gone, right, we're £2.5 million away from what you want. You're digging your heels in, let's just pay the £2.5 million. I think Manchester United would be better off doing that. I understand the idea of not getting our pants pulled down, not going, OTT with transfers. We're in a bit of a mess because we've done that in the past. However, if it's literally a case of we're willing to pay 62 million or whatever, 62.5 million, Brentford wants 65 million, I don't think that's too excessive. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat in the comments. There's also a little bit of a twist in the tail with the Elanga story, because Elanga's going to Newcastle. We had a here we go from Fabrizio Romano last night, I think it was, and he's done a sort of update today about Elanga going for his medical. United, depending on who you read, I think Nathan Salt said it's around, is it around 20% sell-on fee? I think it was, or 15 or 20% sell-on fee for Manchester United. I had it written down. Salt said it was 20%. I think Rob Dawson said it was 15%. Either way, because it's a 55 million quid transfer, I think it is, with maybe a bit of add-ons as well, United could get between 5 and 8 million quid from that deal because of our sell-on fee with Elanga. So maybe that could be used just to pay the little bit extra for Bryan Mbeumo. Am I oversimplifying it, or is that just not a bit of a no-brainer? We've got some extra money and we weren't expecting. We didn't know that Elanga was going to go to Newcastle. Let's use some of that dough to get the Mbeumo deal over the line. That's what I think should happen. Whether it does or not remains to be seen. I might be making it far too easy. It does seem like it's doable. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let's hit that like button as well, please, people. Over 1,000 watching. We haven't even got to 100 likes. Who says that? Well, sorry. Harry says, is Igalo available? You never know with this club. David Smith says, just need to get it done so he can integrate into the team. The more pre-season training he gets, the better. I think that's a great point. I like it when we get players in early. I like it when players get a full pre-season. Not only do I want to see him on tour, which would be a nice little bonus, but you want to see him getting to know his squad, getting to know his teammates, getting to know the system that Ruben Amorim wants to play. Ruben Amorim getting to know the player properly as well. Let's get all that done as soon as possible. It's not the end of the world if he joins towards the end of the transfer window, but it would be much more beneficial to get it done early, especially when it doesn't feel like the two clubs are a million miles away in terms of the fee. It feels very, very doable, so just get it effing done. Deja Vu says, the argument of just paying whatever is what's got us into this mess. But we're going to pay what Brentford want, aren't we? And it's not just whatever. We're £2.5 million away from the valuation. Brentford don't seem like they're folding anytime soon, as they would have accepted that bid. So what are we going to do? If you think there's another option than us going back in with a higher offer, then I'd love to hear it. Because I think that's the only option at the minute. I don't see how this transfer gets resolved unless Manchester United increase the offer. Otherwise, what's going on? Are we just waiting for Brentford to go, okay, go on then? That doesn't seem like it's realistic. So if you don't think we should pay the extra, should we walk away then? If you think this is what's got us into this mess, are you saying United should walk away from the Mbeumo deal? If you think that, fair enough. I don't agree. I don't think we should. I think we should get the deal done. And I don't think going from 62.5 million to 65 is the end of the world, personally. I feel like Manchester United might be trying to say, let's just do it with instalments, or let's just do it as an add-on, and Brentford to say no. But either way, it's going to end up with Manchester United paying what Brentford want if we are going to get Bryan Mbeumo. Let me know what you think. Are we seriously just signing two players, says Brian Martin? So far, it's been Mateus Cunha, and it's the other one is Diego Leon. Akash K says, Jay, are we waiting to sell? Perhaps that's a rocky road, that. And also, we're waiting to sell. Right, if we've got the money for the bid we've put in, and we've just had the extra money coming in from the Elanga deal, wouldn't that get us over the line? Who are we waiting to sell? What is happening with our sales? I'll get to that in a minute, but at the moment, not a lot. So that's, again, a difficult or, rocky road to go down. I just feel like it's just annoying. Brian Casey says, to be fair, Jay, it's 2.5 million from this deal, another 3 million from this deal. It all adds up, and we'll have overpaid 10 to 15 in one window after all the. I don't understand that. What do you mean 2.5 million from this deal, another 3 million for another deal? You have to explain that one to me, Brian. You've lost me. Akash Gay says, Jay, I agree, but I'm scratching my head. Harry says it's hard to sell rotten players. Jay, this is a problem. I think if we're waiting to make sales, we're going to be waiting. We could be waiting a long time. And if I was Brentford, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, all we need is Manchester United to sell Marcus Rashford or Jadon Sancho and be laughing. There is some movement, a little bit of movement on Jadon Sancho, but it doesn't feel like there's much. Brian Casey says, if we overpay by small amounts for every deal we do, it adds up. But we're not overpaying for every deal we do. We've got Diego Leon done. We've got Mateus Cunha done for the buyout clause. So I don't think we've overpaid for every deal we've done. We've only done 2, and we haven't overpaid for either of them. So I don't agree with that. I'm sorry. What are United's cash reserves like, Jay? We struggled to pay up front fees. It's now in the bank, says Andrew Gibson. When we spoke to, I think it was Laurie and I think it was Finn as well, I think you've got that rolling credit facility. There's still got money on it if you wanted to use that. So you could use that. I think there's up to 90 million quid, but United want to avoid that because that is what's got us into this mess again. So I don't think Manchester United are going to go for using any of that. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Akash K says, who's been a member of the academy, the first team 17 months, says Elanga moving to Newcastle for 55 million does not help us at all when we're getting Mbeumo. I think Romano said Brentford in excess of 65 million. This is a tad worrying, but I think the idea is if we've got the bid, we've got the money for the bid we've already put in, then following that bid, after we've put that bid in, we then find out we're getting more money. Can that money, that extra money, be used towards Mbeumo? That was my suggestion. Clinton Clive says, was the whole idea this summer that we won't be dictated to, let's walk away and get a 6 or an 8? Fair enough. If that's what you think, walk away. I get it. I don't agree with it, but I understand. That is a solution. The issue I've got in a minute is nothing is let's just do nothing. That doesn't make any sense to me. You either walk away or you do another bid. I think that's what it is. Santa Knox says just adds to the overall debt once again. I think that's the rolling credit facility using that. Akash K says we need his goals badly. Murray Boogie says, Critch says that was it. Sorry, Mark Critchley was who says it. United hasn't revolved the credit when he talked to Joe the other day. Yeah, I think we've still got that as an option, but I think there's a bit of a reluctance perhaps to dip into that because we have been put into problems in the past by sort of tapping into that rolling credit facility. It is there, but Manchester United are trying to avoid using it, which I get. I understand that. I don't think you should just be going, right, let's just tan the credit card. I understand that, but I feel like we need to do something. There has to be some sort of solution to this Mbeumo deal because at the minute, nothing is happening and it's getting very, very frustrating. Maleko Difference says, with Onana still starting, we're still going to suffer. Al Williams says, transfer windows are frustrating these days. Now there are leaks galore, Joe Corcoran says, shifting the players who want to leave is going to be more crucial for this summer than any new player. I think you're right, it is going to be massive. We need to do it. John Kine says, Jay, it's my birthday on Sunday. The wife has brought me a Stretford Paddock mug. Can I have a shout out and should I be pleased? Yes, you can, and yes, you should be. Let's talk about strikers then. This is from The Athletic. A new striker remains a possibility for United if they are able to clear space within the squad. United have been keeping tabs on Fiorentina, even Moise Kean. There was a 52 million release clause that can be triggered until the 15th of July. I won't hold my breath on that one. The club have also been offered the chance to sign several free agents, namely Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Jamie Vardy and Callum Wilson. This is from Laurie Whitwell and Mark Critchley, both friends of the channel, of course. It's expected that United would only advance on these, if at all, towards the end of the window if they do not get any of their top targets. So that feels like the emergency option. I'm not too keen on any of them. I'm not going to lie to you. Callum Wilson has been a good player over the years. Don't think he scored any goals in the Premier League last season. Was he 32? Maybe he could do a job. I'm not exactly, my mouth's not watering in that prospect. We've spoken about Dominic Calvert-Lewin quite a lot over the last 3 days. Again, 1 goal in his last 24 Premier League games. Missed a chunk of the season last season with an hamstring injury. Has had injury issues. A bit underwhelmed by that one. Jamie Vardy was 37. Scored, I think, 7 Premier League goals last season, but I think he scored all of those early in the Premier. Well, I think it might have been 7 or 8, but I think he scored the chunk of those towards the beginning of the season. A 37-year-old striker, yes, it is an option. It's not a great one. And Moise Kean struggled a little bit in the Premier League, didn't he? And also, have we got 52 million euros to spend on anyone? Just on the Dominic Calvert-Lewin news as well, there was a tweet I saw earlier, I think we've got it here, from, I think it's Luke Edwards from The Telegraph, who does the Newcastle news. Have you got you can see it here. So it says here, former Everton striker, seen as a good fit for the club, especially his familiarity with the Premier League and Eddie Howe's admiration for him. Newcastle eye Dominic Calvert-Lewin as Callum Wilson replacement. I mean, the only thing worse than getting Dominic Calvert-Lewin is probably trying to get him and not getting him because he chooses not to come to Manchester United. So he might even end up going Newcastle there. They've lost Callum Wilson. Maybe that's a good sort of plan for them. We'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you think about strikers. Who do you want to see? Who can we get realistically that you think could come in and do a job for Manchester United? Because I'm being a bit of one of them where I'm going, I don't really like any of those. So, okay, I need to say who I think the option should be. I'm struggling. I'm really struggling. Help me out. If anyone's got any suggestions, I am all ears. I mean, in an ideal world, you go out and get Victor Osimhen, but I don't think that's going to happen. Let's talk about Edison. This is the midfielder, I think, from Atalanta. It says here, Manchester United, Inter Milan and Juve open talks for Atalanta's Edison. The 26-year-old midfielder could be on the move to other European clubs in the current transfer window. We've been linked with this lad a little bit. I've spoken about this before. I'm a bit wary of this one. I think he's a decent player. The issue is you're dealing with John Murtagh, who I'm not too keen on dealing with, to be brutally honest. Atalanta do play hardball as well when they do transfers. We know that when we bought Ahmad, he'd played an hour of football, and I think we paid about up to 37 million. I think great signing in the long run. Obviously, I love Ahmad, but it was quite a lot for a young player who hadn't really played much. You look at Rasmus Hojlund, we brought in from Atalanta. Again, that was 72 million quid, I think it was. Atalanta asking 60 million euros. I think you'd probably go, okay, if that's a player that's going to come in and do a job for you, it's probably worth it. But we've got to sell. We've got to sell to buy. We can't even get the Mbeumo deal over the line. And we're looking at free transfer strikers. So are we going to go out and spend 60 million quid on a midfielder? Probably not. Real says how much the Palace want for Mateta. The rumour was that he was going to stay at Selhurst Park. That was the rumour, wasn't it? Brian Casey says the obvious striker option at the moment is Ollie Watkins. Prem proven and knows where the goal is if we can get him for about 45 million quid. It's not the worst idea, to be honest with you. He has scored a lot of goals. Will Manchester United pay what Villa want? We'll have to wait and see. There could be something happening there. It did seem to have a little bit of legs there, didn't it, with the old Ollie Watkins to Manchester United news. When I first saw it, I thought never happening. But he's not too happy with Unai Emery. He was a bit miffed when that Emery bought in Marcus Rashford and played him ahead of him in big games as well at certain points last season. He's obviously Premier League proven. 29, it's not like he's old. You're not going to get many seasons out of him. You get at least a couple. So maybe Ollie Watkins is a bit of an option. Soldier fourth class says Eriksen is available for free. Why not take a punt on an experienced player? Manchester United, that would be the kind of thing we'd do. Certainly in the past anyway. Hopefully we've moved past those days. Let's have a look at the next story. Is it John Victor? Where's this from? One Football. I saw this the other day. Manchester United target Botafogo's John Victor as goalkeeper reshuffle looms. Yeah, Manchester United being linked with a kid from Botafogo. It seems as though we're going to stick with Andre Onana, to be honest. We can get rid of that. We'll have to wait and see. There was some talk, wasn't there, of Emiliano Martinez as well not so long ago. I'm not entirely sure that is going to happen, to be honest. I don't know, is the honest answer. It looks as though, if you had to guess, we're going to stick with Andre Onana, but maybe there's going to be some sort of late moves in the transfer window. We'll see. Rasmus Hojlund, what's the latest with him? So Fabrizio Romano tweeted, when did he tweet this, sorry?
Yesterday.
Yes, when was this? Yesterday afternoon. He said, Rasmus Hojlund doesn't want to leave Manchester United this summer. His desire is to stay. The only possibility for sale is in case United decide to advance in talks and proceed with his exit. Into Keane for weeks, but deal now on standby. Yeah, we sort of know this, don't we? He don't want to go. Maybe he goes to Inter. I think it was Laurie Whitwell said he actually felt it was more likely he'd go than he'd stay. We'll have to wait and see. But I think we've got other priorities we need to move on. And also, if we do sell Rasmus Hojlund, we've got to have another striker in. Whether you rate Hojlund or not, we cannot just have Chido and Joshua Zirkzee as our two strikers. That would be a recipe for disaster. Beyond Fitness says, Jay, if we sell Anthony Garnacho, Malacia, Rashford and Sancho, would you be happy with a combined fee of 200 million? Or what would you be happy with? So if you think Anthony 30, Garnacho 50, what's that, 80, Malacia 10 maybe, what are we on, 90, Rashford 40, 130, Sancho 25, 30, what are we on there? I don't think you're going to get 200 million. I think you're closer to 250 million. UFC MMA says use the whole 50 quid budget on Euro Million tickets. KM says Rasmus needs to go. There was a story last night about this Amazon series. I think it was in the Athletics at Ornstein. When you see Ornstein exclusive, Man United, you think yes, and then you go, oh. It's about an Amazon series. So United end secret talks, and they're not that bloody secret, over record-breaking Amazon series deal for well in excess of 10 million off after months of dialogue. Ruben Amorim opposed and United aligned on final decision. Football commercial timing reasons. I think an Amazon series on Manchester United in its current guise could be a bit of a comedy, to be honest with you, and I'm not sure I'm up for that. I'm hoping we're going to have a better season than we had last season, but do we really want cameras in the dressing room if we don't? Not really. I get there's money involved. I get that could be used to buy some players, but no, I'm glad we're not having an Amazon series. I love content and I love Manchester United content, but I'm not sure I want to see the cameras in the dressing room after another 3-0 defeat at home to Bournemouth. Call me old-fashioned. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Seven Annie says, just waking up here in Toronto. He also says, I'm going to have to rewind to the start. If you want the brief update, not much happening with Mbeumo, but Elanga going to Newcastle could get us a few quid, but it also makes Brentford think, hang on a minute, if Elanga can go to Newcastle for 55 million quid, maybe we're right to ask for 65 million quid for Bryan Mbeumo, who scored a lot more goals than Elanga. That's the kind of the roundup of what the initial story was. I'm going to be back later on today with, I think we've got a Joe special, an explainer vid, plus we'll be chatting to Stephen Howson, so it is all happening. So make sure, if you're not doing already, you are hitting like, share and subscribe. I'm Jay Marty. This has been a Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.